clever in logic as the agent. Those devoted to the Jaina doctrines as Arhat. The ritualist of the Mimamsa school as Karma. May that Lord grant our inner desires. Om Yam Shaiva Samupasate Shiva iti Brahmeti Vedantino Bauddha Buddha iti Pramana Patavaha Karteti Nyayayikaha Arhan Nityayata Chaina Shashanarataha Karmeti Mimangsakaha Soyam no vidadatu vanchita phalam Trailokyanato harihi. The three phases of Vedanta philosophy. As long as there have been a thinking mind, they have pondered on what constitutes reality. People have looked outside and they wanted to find out where exactly is this vast world originated from. And it's a natural thing. Only thing what we do is we have left that inquiry to them. We don't really inquire. We let somebody else do the thinking for us. All religions in the world today is an evolution of previous thoughts. Every religion, there is an undeniable, you can say, thread now that stretches from, if you think that your religion originated from here, no. Because in the study of philosophy and theology, we see that every religious thought has expressed itself in various times. It has evolved. No religion has come in from a vacuum. So these old inquiries, the people wondering, where has this come from? Where do we go from here? Have been answered through various phases of religion, starting from the animistic religions to the fetishism, to the shamanism, through all these various phases, till we come down to monotheism. These stages of religious thought, in India at least, they are looked as stages of spiritual evolution. It's how evolved your ideas of religion are, plus how evolved is your soul. So it's not just religion or philosophy, these are the three phases. It is one spiritual evolution also. Further, Sri Ramakrishna succinctly says, when you start, God is out there, somewhere in the sky, somewhere, wherever. The next stage comes when you say, God is within us. And the third stage comes, God has become all this. So these are the three stages of spiritual development. And necessarily everyone has to go through them. So the first phase we'll take is obviously the dualistic. In dualism, God is a creator who will create. And he governs everything, not only creates, but looks after creation. But God is eternally separate from nature and is eternally separate from souls. Nature in dualistic Vedanta, nature is eternal, souls are eternal, and God is eternal, but they don't mix. They are separate. Nature and souls change, but God does not change. Further, nature does not have an end, nor souls have an end. They have not been created as we understand creation. They have been eternal. Nature has been eternal, only it goes through phases of manifestation and non-manifestation. Souls, they do not come from out of nowhere. Souls also are uncreate, and the souls are bound with nature. God, in many dualistic religions, the personal God, it does not have a human form. And whatever conceptions of God we have, we superimpose our ideas on that. But that God can come as an avatar. So this is the doctrine in all dualistic religions. So God, though he does not have, he is not a human as like us, but our conceptions of him are human. This God can be approached, can be prayed to, etc. Okay. Now, that God has got all the best qualities. And then what about the evil qualities? Well, no. We'll see how the Vedantins handle this. So according to them, the dualistic Vedantins, God creates out of this Prakriti. Prakriti, as I said, it's uncreate, but he energizes that Prakriti at the beginning of the manifestation. Mostly all people are dualist, almost all. Swami Vivekananda says 90% of the people are dualist. Because when you feel you're a body, you have got to be a dualist. And when you don't feel the body, you feel yourself as a mind, then you are slightly better. Then that's a second phase. And the third is when you feel yourself as a soul. That's the threshold of entering into Advaita Vedanta. Okay. So till that time, we will take as Swamiji says, 90% of all people are dualist. And this is the common sense view of the world and of creation and of God and of souls, etc. So they want a God which is like them. And so we have superimposed ideas of God on them. So the various conceptions of God are the various superimpositions that we've had over the millennia. So we've made God the king, the emperor, the ruler, etc. In today's democratic societies, of course, there are some places where there are still, we have still those old remnants. But in democratic society, those old ideas of king and monarch and ruler doesn't kind of gel well with today's modern mind. So, however, they make God the purest of the way. He is not to be blamed, or she is not to be blamed. Then who? So, when you look at this world, you see both good and bad. If you take only the good, and they say that's not, the evil side is nothing to do with God. So then you have to bring in some agency who is responsible. In Vedanta, they don't do that. They say when we live, we are constantly creating a future. We work, but our present work is molding a future. Otherwise, the work will be impossible. Nobody works for the past. Oh, I was such a nice person. I want to be a better person in the past. Nobody does that. Oh, I want to be a better person in the future. That's what the whole idea of karma is. So, if you see everything around which is kind of not really gelling well with the ideas of God, then what do you attribute them? That is karma. You are to be blamed. God is not to be blamed. So there it is. God is the purest of the pure, free from all kind of evil and all kind of misdeeds. The whole thing is blamed on the doer, the person. If you see, Sri Ramakrishna gives an example. So, if there's a child in the room and a thief enters and takes a bag of gold, for the child, there is no thief, nor a bag of gold. So, if you have the thief inside and then you can see things outside. So, this laws of karma is what guides people, and collectively we mold our future, and individually also. We are molding our future. And this is the powerful agent here within us. What we want, we can become. Of course, there are other ancillaries to this law of personal striving, because you've got to strive in a society which has its own karma. But that's another story for another time. But it goes to show, the Vedantins, they show, that what you see as not being consonant with the ideas of a creator who's pure, etc., that you blame people. Okay. It's a huge subject, and we have dealt with it in some form or the other. The other thing is, the Vedanta dualists say, liberation is for all, without exception. So everybody is evolving through our own karmas, and everybody will be liberated. So this is a doctrine which is very comforting. Yeah. But in the interim period, you got to get thrown about like a football. But you can avoid that also if you play the game well. So that's it. As souls are infinite, there will be always some souls who will be still seeking for liberation. So the bound souls, Ramakrishna says, the struggling souls and the souls who are free. These are the classes. And there are the classes that they are the ever free souls. They come down to help other souls. So these are the various classes of souls that are there. But generally, they say souls that are in plants and in animals and birds, etc., they also are evolving. So the whole thing is going towards liberation. No one will be left out. Even the worst person that you have ever known, one day will be liberated. So this is a doctrine which they have held on for millennia. There is no exclusivity there. Everybody will go up there. So this doctrine of karma also brings in the doctrine of reincarnation. So, well, you started something and then you couldn't finish it off. They're saying, then what? Is whatever did you start, or why did you even start, if it is going to be a kind of a waste, if death cuts you off? Then they say, no, you get another chance. It keeps on rolling over and over and over. Whatever you have done, nothing is lost. Nothing. Whatever you have thought, done, said, is stored for you. As they say, as you sow, so shall you reap. This is the doctrine of, so it rolls down. So we are moving towards something called liberation also. This is the inevitable, you can say, destiny of all souls. So that is heartening. Only some people take a short time, some people take a long time, some people take even a longer time. But the entire responsibility is thrown on the person. It is you who can extricate yourself from this. And then when you pray to God, yes, God will help you. This is why the God that's external to you, separate from you, yet you're bound, you can connect with. Swami Vivekananda says, religion is the eternal relation between the eternal soul and eternal God. So beautifully put. It is the eternal relationship between the eternal soul and the eternal God. And because our nature has that eternality, we find that we will seek the eternal. The ephemeral, yes, we got caught and we made our mistakes, and so we've got to get out of this. Another thing, these dualists, most of them, the Vedanta dualists, if you ask somebody, they are great believers in non-killing, ahimsa. Oh, you should not kill. Why? Oh, it's not right to take anybody's life. But for the Vedantins, no, it's actually, it belongs to God. So they try to put God into everything, into life, into work, into thought, into everything. And that is that constant recollectedness, which they say that this is a spiritual path. They say, well, don't pray to God for the small things in life. For that, you can go to the various other smaller gods which are there. If you ought to go to God, the head honcho, as they say, you pray for liberation. Pray to get extricated from bonds of karma. That is what prayer should be. So this is the dualistic side of spiritual evolution of Vedanta or philosophy. Like God is outside. The real Vedanta comes, which is what is called a qualified non-dualism. Non-dualism, but it's qualified. I'll explain it. So what qualifies God, that non-dual reality? Well, souls and nature. because they just cannot bring out that from them the idea that there is this nature which can be dismissed. You cannot dismiss this nature. So they say yes, when you say God has created this world. So God is the cause and the universe and everything in it is the effect. Think yes. So they build a causal relationship, cause and effect relationship. They say if this is the case, and it is seen that the cause always get modified into an effect, like clay is transformed into a pot. Obviously, the clay disappears, but where does it disappear? It goes in the pot. So if God is the creator, then he is also in the creation. He is a created also. The creator and the created are one. So now again this problem comes. If this is the case of the cause and relationship, the cause and the effect are one, then what about the crazy things that we see? How can that be God? So they approach it like they say the three things, God, nature and souls, are not distinct. They are one. It's like we have a body and we have a mind and we have a soul. So the three things, God, nature and souls, are like a composite. It appears one, but there are the distinct phases. The body undergoes changes. Of course, it will undergo change. But we know, like our bodies undergo change, but there is a constant abiding entity which we think that it does not change. So God is something like that. The changes are in nature, in Prakriti. God is unchanging. And they're saying, then what about this crazy stuff that we see around? So again, they bring the analogy of a body. Like every body that we all bodies are a combination of millions and millions of separate things. They have grown organically. Like we have millions of cells and trillions, maybe trillions, that compose Earth, and yet we feel that we are one. So all the souls and nature make up this body of God, as I mentioned. But these souls, through good work, their knowledge expands when they find that they are part of the entire body politic. They are not separate. And when through karma you do something that obscures that knowledge, then you feel yourself separate. So they say God has become everything in the sense of God is interpenetrating everything. So it is one thing that is appearing as three. And when the soul understands, oh, God is the soul of my soul, and that knowledge will work out our ignorance. And then we'll understand, oh, I'm a part and parcel of God. And I'm not separate from other souls and also other and nature also. So this is the qualified non-dualism. It means that non-dualism is qualified by God, soul, and nature. This is okay. So most of us, and you see, it's not something that is just philosophy. Sri Ramakrishna, in his experiences, he has experienced this. And not only that, Sri Ramakrishna, he also gave these experiences to others. So the entirety, what we call nature and souls and God, they're seen as one entity. He says, I see everything as that same reality, that same Brahman. And when Swamiji was kind of scoffing at this idea, and then Sri Ramakrishna goes and touches him, and then he says, in a flash, I saw everything is God. But I kept quiet. And for 3 days, I saw everything as God. So, Vedanta is experience. And this is the experience. So, it was not just thought out and kind of written down. Swamiji makes it very clear. He says, Vedanta was practical first, it was experienced first, and then philosophical next. That is, they wrote the philosophy after experiencing all these truths. So this is why we say that, okay, what is Vedanta? Vedanta is this. So how do we know the knower? You cannot know the knower, because in a way you are that knower. So soul's purity, as I said, once it is unveiled, it sees that it is a part of not only God, nature, but the entirety. Its separate identity has been dissolved. And as we've seen that all religions have been trying to break this idea of separateness. You are separate from me and I am separate from the tree. Not really. Provisionally, yes. Because I need to interact and you interact. But on a deeper level, we are all connected. So this philosophy, this stage, this phase of religion is, in many cases, they say, the practical realization of Advaita also. So when I see people as separate, people as bad, people as this, people as that, what is my conception? My conception should be, they are all souls like me. They are within the entirety of this reality. So an example given is like from a blazing fire, sparks fly out. So from this one infinite being, everything has emerged. The entirety of either the first phase, dualism, or the second phase is to stop being reborn. In the first phase, yes, that's samsara, get out of the samsara. The second phase is, oh, you are already out of samskara. You believe that you think that you are constantly being born and dying, etc. That is a kind of an illusion. So once the ideas of samsara are taken off, then you get liberation. And the third phase, it's called Advaita, non-dualism. So Swamiji says it's the fairest flower of philosophy that has ever been thought out by the human brain and experienced, of course. It is too abstruse to be the religion of the masses, because people want to bring down religious ideas of God or whatever down to their level, make it, as you say, muddied. The idea is to raise ourselves up, not to bring the ideal down, but to raise our lives to the ideal life. So, this abstract, abstruse Vedanta, the third phase, they want to concretize it, make it tangible. But in Advaita Vedanta, it says nothing doing. You've got to stay on the abstract level. That's the reason why he's saying it has been in India for thousands and thousands of years, but it has not been the religion of the masses. There are only few who can throw off superstitions, class superstition, caste superstition, country superstition, human superstition, illusions. There are few who want truth, fewer still who will walk that path. So it has always had that kind of very few number. But the ideas have been there everywhere about this one reality, the absolute. So we would have, Swamiji says, there are a few brave souls in the world who dare to conceive the truth because they don't want something called a comfortable religion. Religion is never comfortable. It will take you out of your comfort zone. And that is where the search begins. We've been trying to lull into kind of comfort and to sleep. It's all right. God is doing everything for you. You can remove that out and then you start thinking in terms of your own, you can say, personal search. What does he say? Yes, like the Vishishtadvaita in the qualified non-dualist. He's saying, yeah, nature and souls are the effect and God is the creator. Yes, the God is the cause and the universe and the souls are the effect. Yes, it is one. He's saying the creator and creation is one. So God is the created. So what you see is everything is that same reality. But then he's saying, what about all this? Again, what about the crazy things? You know, the problem of evil has been persistent in human existence. And we have devised various theories. We've brought in Satan, we have brought in so many things to answer. So he's saying, so the cause has become the effect, but they use a word, apparently. The word, technical word is vivarta. So apparently. And saying God is pure spirit and he has become this universe apparently. And then he says, why do I see all these things? The difference in souls, nature, and even the various gods. Saying there is no differentiation. What you are seeing is self-hypnotization. It is illusory. There is only one and you are seeing it as the many. That's very difficult to kind of die. It's a bitter pill. So it's saying there is a one Brahman and it's not he or she or anything. They don't say it also. They say that. So that is what it is. It is beyond the known. It is beyond the knowable. It is beyond speech. It is beyond mind. It is beyond even your soul. So here they come with a kind of a peculiar doctrine. There is one thing that's appearing as something else. Like a snake appears like a rope. The rope does not change into a snake. It is always a rope, but it appears due to adventitious causes, like say darkness or your old fear of snakes, and you kind of get startled. So one thing is appearing as another. So that reality called Brahman is appearing as the universe. But it's just an appearance. Finally, you come down to saying that all these differentiations that we see between souls, between soul and nature, etc., are simply, you can say, dream-like. It's not dream-like. So we are dreaming all these dreams. When you are looking at it from the standpoint of a human being, it appears as the human world. A little higher, if you become a kind of some god, you will see it as a heaven. There's one thing that is appearing according to your stage of ignorance, they say. So this has been the point where Swamiji says, it cannot be known. You only can reflect itself. And what he means is, it's a mind that is reflecting that reality. And as clearer and clearer reflections are brought in, reflectors, you will see a better and better reflection of that reality. So this Vedanta, as I say, first is they dethrone that God of the universe, which is there. They put in the ruler, the emperor, the king, and this, that, and all these things. And what do they do there? And they replace it with their own Atman there. So the Atman is greater than all the gods, all of nature. The glory is even greater than the entire universe. So what they do is they put the self there in the place of all gods and all nature, etc. And then they say, you are omnipresent and omnipotent. What is this dream about birth and karma and dying and being reborn? It's all an illusion, like an illusion. So they dismiss God, they dismiss nature, they dismiss souls, they dismiss everything connected with the karma, etc. There is a one reality. And this one reality is appearing as this. Through what? So they posit something, because you got to answer, through what? Through something called Maya. Now, there's another peculiar, you can say, doctrine. Maya is neither existence, because if you say it's existence, then you will have two. They want to eradicate the ideas of two, duality. They want only one. And not only, they don't say even one, they say Advaita, not two. And so, if you say Maya is existent, then you're falling into a philosophical pitfall. So they say it does not exist. But does not exist, how can that which does not exist create this? So they say it is indescribable. So something that has come and make this one reality appear something else. So the cause is Maya. So they say it's neither existence nor non-existence, nor is a combination of both, is it? Because that's a contradiction in terms. Something has come between me and the reality, and it appears distorted. So I've been superimposing my ideas of the universe and etc., and even my ideas on God on this reality. And this is what I've been searching for. I project and I can keep on searching. So Swamiji says, I am to worship therefore none but myself, saying my soul, the Atman, is higher than all the greatest heavens, greater than this universe itself. No books, no scriptures, nothing can ever speak about the glory of this Atman. So the entire universe, billions and billion years in extent, etc., they say is just a drop of water in the ocean of Brahman. So this is so small, and you are the ocean, and you've been thinking that you are a drop of water. So what has made that? Ignorance. So what is that ignorance? Same ignorance and Maya. So it's like a screen, and we have been getting deluded on our separateness. So there is no souls, there is no rebirth, there is no universe, there is no God, the personal God. There is only that absolute reality. And that also, to make it even more better, they say, you cannot describe it. The only description that they have is existence, consciousness, and bliss. This is the nature of that reality. And this reality which is there, in a way, it is reflected in your mind. And we catch that reflection, and that's why we feel, yes, we are conscious, we are this, we are that. But as a drop of water, you will finally end up in the ocean. Similarly, Vedanta says, whether you want it or not, you are that already. Now you got to drop all that baggage that we've had, all the philosophical and all the personal experiences and the personal, you can say, superstitions and illusions. You got to drop it. And this makes it, as they say, daunting. Should I let go everything go? Yes, if you let go everything, then you reach that. If you still hold on to, and what do we generally hold on to? The sense of separateness, the sense of the I, the ego. So Vedanta says that itself is Maya. That itself is ignorance. You drop that, and when you drop that, everything is over for you. So Swamiji says, I am beyond all life, beyond all death. Where shall I seek for freedom? They say, you are already free. You think, you believe, and you've been hoping to get out of this bondage. It's your belief, your thinking that you're bound. You're free. And Sri Ramakrishna used to say, if you think you're free, you will be free. If you think you're bound, you'll be bound. So what remains of my individuality? Saying your individuality has been constantly being transformed over your decades. Where is your individuality? In the constantly changing things? It cannot be. Your real individuality is in the reality. That is where you really what you are. And it concludes with, thou art that. You are that. But you have been thinking of all the dreams of going to heaven and trying to avoid hell. Those are all kind of dreams. The dream breaks. And when the dream breaks, you will see this one infinite existence. Has it been experienced? Yes, like I said, Vedanta has been an experience. And according to your spiritual growth, you experience it. This has been experienced, and this experience has been transmitted down for generations to generations. I don't know how many generations. Over and over and over. This is called the Brahma Vidyasam, the tradition of the knowledge of Brahman that has been given. So this is an experience. It's not only Shri Ramakrishna and Holy Mother and Totapuri's Guru and Swamiji had experienced this. So it has been there in the people in the world. At one point of time, the whole universe just disappears. And when it disappears, what remains? The reality. The snake disappears. What remains is that rope. So we have superimposed. Who has superimposed? We have superimposed our ideas of what reality should be on reality. Then we need to tear it out. So again, the entire responsibility is given to us. And it starts with thought. If you can think that you are that self, the Atman, then, so Totapuri, Shri Ramakrishna's guru, he used to give this analogy, illustration. And Swamiji also has spoken about it in one of his lectures, in Jnana Yoga. So he says, yeah, there was a tigress, big with young, and she was hunting, and she jumped on a prey, and in that effort, she gave birth to a small tiger baby, but she died in that effort. Now, the sheep that were there, the prey, they saw this baby tigress, and they took care of it. And the tigress grew up thinking it's a sheep. It began bleating and kept on bleating. It lived and behaved and ate grass and did everything exactly like a sheep. One day, another tiger, an old tiger, was passing by, and he saw a tiger in the midst of sheep. The tiger had grown up big, but it was still thinking it's a sheep, bleating. So he approached nearby, and then it roared, and the sheep panicked. They started bleating and it panicked. And the tigress also, she also bleated and she panicked. Then that old tigress, it went, caught that tigress which was there in the midst of the sheep, pulled it, saying, "You are a tiger, I am a sheep," and began bleating. "You are a tiger." "No, I'm a sheep." So he dragged it to a pool of water. "See, look at your face and look at mine." And it looked, "Oh yeah." And then roar, it began bleating. Then he took a piece of meat and put it in the mouth. Some old instinct, remember. And then roar, and then it roared. So Swamiji concludes, we are all saying tigers, blessed and perfect. We are not sheep. We have been dreaming about sheep, thinking as a sheep. So you have been thinking, I'm an individual soul bound by karma. I have got to do this, I have got to do that. What? So this is that personal illusion that we have about I'm a human being. And there are these gods and this and that. Finally, you will roar. That's why in Vedanta, especially in Advaita Vedanta, they called Vedanta Keshari. That's the lion of Vedanta. So they say, Nirgachati Jagat Jalat Pinjaradirva Keshari. And like it's saying, like a lion rushing out through a cage which is made of straw, so also the soul will rush out through the cage of straw called the universe. Then you will know that you are free, you were never bound, you were dreaming all these dreams of all this whole universe, etc. This is a culmination. This is the end. Then what happens? What's supposed to go to happen? Your illusion goes away. And then you see the reality. That is that one Brahman. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Sri Ram Krishna Arpanamastu. Okay, there are no questions here, thank God. Yeah, after all this, I've just given a kind of a small, brief introduction to. There's a lot of ramifications. There's a counter questions and rebuttals. But it has always been kind of whatever future objections that will ever come out have been answered by this philosophy of Advaita. Yes, because the human mind has been known, has been dissected. So it's a simple thing. We think it's a complicated, whatever future questions will come. So this is how we come to Advaita. Finally, it is oneness. And Swamiji has been talking about this oneness. Like it's the most practical thing. That he bases his entire spiritual disciplines on this idea of oneness. It's a karma yoga, bhakti yoga, jnana yoga, all these things. So this is this idea of oneness, which today even all the sciences are now speaking about, the idea of oneness. Yes. So as time passes by, we'll see these relevant ideas popping out, the idea of oneness. So there's how does one practice egolessness, detachment as a householder? As I said, in the dualist, everything belongs to God. So everything in your house, your wife, your children, everything belongs to God. That is the way you practice. And secondly, you keep on working, and as you work, you offer the results of your work to God. So that way you reduce your ideas, the importance about yourself. So, and being a householder, what do you mean householder? That's the best place where you can practice all these things. So in Vedanta, they don't make a distinction between householders and monastics, etc. That itself is an illusion, they say. Yes. Okay. So practice first to offer whatever you have done, said, thought to God. And so this is how you keep on practicing. Think that everything is there that belongs to God. And you see, every life has to be based on sacrifice. If you don't, you're going to lead a very miserable life. Sacrifice is the very basis of life. You have to give. You give it to God or give it to others, you've got to sacrifice your life for others. Nobody lives for oneself. You live for others. That nature itself has shown us that we cannot live in a bubble, isolated. We have to live. All life actually is a community. It's a community of bees and ants and this, that and everything. They live in a community. They live in a society. So you take all the living beings and put all the different societies, it's a one big, huge bunch of life. So my life also here depends on so many lives outside, in the trees and plants and Yes. Why should I think that they are not part of my life? They are in a way. So this idea of oneness and of sacrifice has to come in. Then we can really start thinking of higher things. Okay. Oh, thank you. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.